In January of 2011, fiery suicides shattered the uneasy calm of marketplaces across the Middle East and North Africa. It all began when a 26-year-old street merchant named Tariq Mohammed Bouazizi was ejected from the marketplace by the authorities and set himself on fire. In little more than 2 weeks, he would die of his wounds and set off a series of revolutions that would become known as the Arab Spring. Over the next 2 months, 63 other small businessmen, excluded from the economic mainstream, set themselves on fire, and protests swept the region. Within 2 years, 4 governments would fall, and the entire Middle East would plunge into an era of painful change.
200 million Arabs on the street, protesting against the status quo. And either these people, who are the overwhelming majority, because we're talking in hundreds of millions, are included, or you're looking for trouble.
Most observers see only a fundamental battle between conservative Islamists and those who seek a more liberal and secular government. And that battle most certainly exists. But the ongoing events of the Arab Spring are driven by a much more fundamental force: the basic right of all people to earn a living free of government corruption and repressive regulations. Outraged by decades of exclusion, tens of thousands of small entrepreneurs had finally lit the fires of the rebellion. Joined by millions more who, for years, have been locked out of the economic system, they are the unlikely heroes of the Arab Spring. And they have now become a mighty force for change.
Major funding for this program has been provided by John Templeton Foundation, supporting science, investing in the big questions. Additional funding has been provided by Omidyar Network and Smith Richardson Foundation.
Tariq Mohammed Bouazizi and those that followed him in his desperate suicidal act became the martyrs who set off a seemingly endless series of revolutions. Bouazizi's fiery image became the icon of protest for the excluded. To Hernando de Soto, the Arab Spring is not an issue of religion.
There's something called the global economy. It's creating prosperity. And Bouazizi and his like have not been included. They feel excluded. This is what it's about.
Mohammed Ben Abbas Makali is another small businessman. So alienated by the authorities, he also attempted to take his life. He survived, but remains bitter.
حاولت بكل الطرق باش ناخذ فهمتني حقي في المجتمع كشغل يعطوني قرض نخدم بيه يعطوني ألف حاجة ما جيتش.
In desperation, millions like Makali and Bouazizi, working to make a living, yet locked out of the social and economic system by Byzantine laws and massive corruption, took to the streets. Almost overnight, protests had spread throughout the region, and there seems to be no end in sight.
This is major change. 200 million Arabs who work outside the legal system. That's what they have in common. They work outside the legal system. It's a revolution. To me, the message is quite clear. The Arab Spring is a huge shout for inclusion.
For De Soto, today's events are an echo of ancient times.
They're struggling to act on the large scale that made them great over 700 years ago.
In that golden age of Islam, the Arab Empire was organized under a single legal system of innovative business law. But as time passed and the world modernized, the ancient system failed to adapt. But other Islamic nations like Turkey did adapt, proving that Islam and free market capitalism are indeed compatible. Why then does the region remain so poor?
Is it an ethnic thing? Is it a religious thing? Is it a cultural thing? Is it the food? Is it the camels? Is it the pyramids? Is it the sand? What is it that makes them so poor?